All right, someone asked these Thai longtails, what's the equivalent horsepower to that of say, a traditional outboard that we see here in the Western world? I hesitate to use that term traditional because in Thailand, the longtail is the traditional outboard, right? It's kind of like going to Mexico and calling it Mexican food. No, it's just food. I'll just say Western traditional outboard. The reality is, horsepower is horsepower. Horsepower is an equation. Torque times RPM divided by 5252. It's that simple. So does that mean a 500 horsepower dump truck is the same as a 500 horsepower race car, a drag race or a NASCAR or something? As far as the horsepower is concerned, yes, because it's 500 horsepower, right? The way that horsepower is derived and its end use are completely different things. Dump trucks, the end use is designed for one thing, is to haul heavy stuff. The race car's purpose is to run around a track at fast speeds. The difference is in the equation, right? The dump truck has high torque and low RPM, right? Divided by 5252 gives you the 500 horsepower. A race car has, high RPM, low torque, relatively speaking, divided by 5252, you get the 500 horsepower. What does that mean? Well, they're both producing the same amount of power by different means for a different end use. Now, how does that apply to outboard engines? Well, a Western traditional outboard engine is a lot like the race car engine in that it is designed to run at high RPM. The Thai longtail is more like the dump truck engine in that it's producing the same power at low RPM. Trying to find an equivalent is like apples and oranges. I don't think that's really a fair way to look at it. The Thai longtail is designed for a specific purpose, designed to slog through anything, whether it's mud, weeds, sand, grit, open water. The traditional Western outboard engine is designed to just run in open water, and that's all you get, unless you have a jet drive or something. But you get my point. You have to understand, if you want a 10 horsepower Thai longtail, you just buy a 10 horsepower engine. Now, the difference in performance, definitely the Thai longtail excels in places where you're going to be plowing through mud, plowing through weeds, plowing through dense, thick brush. You don't have to worry about the foot getting all busted, right? The Thai longtail has a 1-to-1 ratio. The propeller is moving at the speed of the engine. The good thing is the engine's not moving very fast. 3,600 RPM is where the governor's set. Western outboard, that thing might be running 6,000 RPM, top speed. Well, if it's running that fast, and it's a relatively small engine, if you look at the displacement, moving twice as fast, it's only making power when it's revving high. Well, it means it's not making power down low, so how does it get power down low? Especially because you're moving through a medium that's 800 times as dense as air. Well, they put a foot on it that's essentially a gearbox that will reduce the drive so that it produces power with a bigger prop at lower RPM, something more reasonable like a 2,000 or 2,500 RPM, half or less than half the speed or a third of the speed of the engine. If you're really needing a true 10 horsepower engine and you want a Thai longtail, get the Honda GX 270. Now, Harbor Freight doesn't make a 10 horsepower Okay, fine, go to Honda. They do make an 8 horsepower 301. You're still lacking 2 horsepower to make it 10. So just get a 10 horsepower powerhead and you'll be fine. You know, that is the equivalent for Thai longtail to traditional Western outboard engines.